everyone and welcome to my channel. I just want to give you a little intro of this video, excuse me, because the lighting was really bad earlier. The sun was setting, so the first like 3 minutes of this video you're gonna see a big glare right here on my chest, but I promise you, as you can see, the lighting gets better. So today I'm talking about Squid Game, the challenge. And if you have not seen Squid Game, the series, the scripted one on Netflix, it's so good. I don't know what you're doing. Go watch it. And I did review the show when it came out, like maybe what was a couple years ago. I'll put up the link on the description box of this video so you can check out my review. But like I said, I loved it. But when I saw the trailer for this one, that's going to be like a reality, competition show, when I watched the trailer, I was like, how are we gonna do this? Because the stakes in the real show, the scripted one, was that people die. And I was like, so if people are not dying here, what's the excitement? And I know Netflix is not gonna kill anyone, no contestants will die. But I was like, what are they gonna do that it's, so exciting that it's going to, draw people's attention? So Netflix released 5 episodes on the first week, which was a couple of weeks ago. And then they did episodes 6, 7, 8, and 9 this week. And then the finale will be episode 10 next week. So I watched the first 5 episodes and I was like, I don't know about this. But then you do start getting attached to the contestants and the games, what they're doing with the games. I'm surprised. The battleship game, which is a new one, it wasn't that on the original show. Was there? No, I don't think there was a battleship on the original show, unless I'm going like cuckoo. But the battleship on the challenge was so intense. And then on this new crop of episodes, the gift box one, the circle of trust, genius. I will talk about each challenge in a little bit, but let me tell you about some controversy that the challenge is already facing. Allegations. There are 2 contestants that are alleging and thinking about suing Netflix. I think since they started suing Love is Blind, now everyone wants to sue Netflix. Like any reality show on Netflix, they want to sue them. But so they're alleging that the conditions on set for the challenge were too harsh. They're alleging that they got hyperthermia, that they had nerve damages, because when they shot green light, red light, which is the first, the first game, it was in old airplane hangar in England. And it was really, really cold, even though they gave the contestants like long underwear and gloves. These contestants are saying that people were like freezing and shaking. And there are other contestants saying that the environment was really stressful and the food lacked seasoning. How dare they? How dare Netflix not put any salt and pepper or offer people hot sauces? You signed up for the show. When you sign up for a reality TV show like this, read the fine print. It's like going on Survivor and complaining that the fish that they caught from fresh water was bland. And I'm thinking about signing up for season 2 if they have one. I went on the website and it seems you can put like your application down for, if there is a second season. I like this challenge because it's not a lot of like physical. You don't have to be a fit person. My stamina, it's really low. I'm tall and skinny, but if I run 2 blocks, I'm like an old lady. I'm like, so for a show like this, that it's 50-50. It's like half luck and half strategy. I was like, I think I can do really well. But anyway, when you sign up for a show like this, you have to expect that you're not going to get catered Michelin star food. You're not going to get a good night of sleep. You're competing for a chance to get $4.5 million. $4.5 million. So yeah, you're gonna have to, endure some conditions. In every reality TV show, you're gonna have your snowflakes or your entitled people that are always complaining. Because I read an interview with one of the contestants. They didn't say their name because there's allegations. They're like breaking their NDA, so they can put their names out there. But this contestant said, some things take skill, but it also comes down to luck, he said. So everything's fair. There's nothing that was not fair in there. So episode 6 starts still at the picnic, where they're having a picnic and everyone's so happy because they're getting food, and they chose their friend, like either the closest person to them, someone they love, or their partner in the game. There was the mother and son, to eat together and join the picnic. But then the twist is that at the bottom of the basket they found marbles, and you know what marbles mean in Squid Game. And I think the marbles episode at the original show was perfect television. It was the perfect episode. Here, they see the marbles and then they're like, oh crap, I'm about to eliminate the person that's closest to me in this game. And that's when you notice that the stakes on this show are way lower than the original show, because of course no one's going to die. You're just going to send someone away, but you also stealing from a person that's close to you the chance to win $4.5 million. One thing that drove me bananas on this episode was players, oh my gosh, what was 65 and 399? It was the black girl and then this guy who like sounded like a jerk. But they couldn't decide on a game, or she wanted to play like in a strategy, like math, game with the marbles, and he wanted to play something with like luck, like plain luck. Let's just toss the marbles. They could not agree, and I was like, guys, come on, are you children? It was so frustrating. The clock was ticking, and then finally, I think it was like maybe a minute and a half or 2 minutes, like we don't know because they could have messed up with the clock. But they finally decide to play, and they're like tossing the marbles in a jar. And at the end, when the clock hits 0, it's a tie. And if it's a tie, you have to decide who's the champion and who's the loser. And they still could not decide. I think they both, because the way they acted, they deserve to be eliminated. The mother and son duo, Leanne and Trey. So they played against each other. Trey won. And I think Netflix should have added something that she said, because that was kind of like a bummer for me. So when Leanne lost, she was hugging him and she said, your dad's going to be so proud. And they had this like heartwarming moment. But the one thing that she said that took me away from the show was when she said, can you please come home and tell me you won it all? And I was like, well, but you're not going to be there. You're dead, Leanne. You're supposed to die in a couple seconds. So when she said, like, can you please come home and tell me you won it all? It's like, no, because you are not going home. You're going to die. So after marbles, we lose basically half of our contestants. So we are left with 31 players. Now get this, out of 31 players, only 9 were women. So it was 22 men and only 9 women. The next game is basically a daisy chain, which means only 20 can move to the next portion of the game, meaning 11 will be eliminated. And it's like a junior high school game of, I pick you, like a popularity contest. So the women, they get together, they have this little powwow. It started with Myrna, I think that was her name, B and Amanda, and they're like, let's get the women together and, girl power, and then even out the numbers, which I thought was more than fair. The tricky thing is that, yeah, you want the women to stick together and, girl power, and then make it as long as they can. But also some of the women already had alliances and relationships with some of the men. So I was like, when it comes down to it, do you think the women will stick together, or they're going to pick their original alliances? So in this game of picking, the daisy chain, We started with TJ because he was the captain. I don't understand why people volunteer to be captains, because captains can be eliminated. But in this case, the captain made it to the next round. So it was a good time to volunteer. He picks Mai, a woman. So we're like, okay, let's see if we're gonna get the ball rolling on this women chain, you know. But no, Mai picks Josh, her, you know, her buddy. And I was like, oh no, the women are screwed because Josh is not gonna pick a girl, and then after that, I don't think any men will pick any lady. Thank goodness, ginger guy, was it Mikey, the Irish dude? I think that was him that he picked Myrna and Mira, yeah, and then she got the ball rolling, and it was like women after women after women after women, and then they start playing Vivaldi's what is it, Winter from Four Seasons, you know, the classical music. And that music was perfect because the women were just like slashing. And then Charles, who was the last man to pick the last woman, he picked Haley. He said something really cool that I thought. He said, representation matters. And so I will continue to respect what's been going on today, because he knew what was up. Before I move on to the next challenge, I found Vivaldi's song. So listen to the song as the women were picking women after women. So we get to the glass bridge game, which is one of my favorite games too on the original show. Here, it's one of the games that I thought it could be rigged because they're just hatches, you know? It's not a piece of glass like on the original show when they stepped on it. It was really interesting because on the original one, there was someone that worked with glasses and was able to like see if that the one on the left or the one on the right, which one was a real glass and which one wasn't. There was like a technique to it. And here, it like nothing breaks. It's a hatch that opens and then the person falls into the abyss. And it's funny because I read that it wasn't really the contestants that fell in the hatch. Netflix got stunt doubles. I was like, come on, stunt doubles? Have you guys seen the MTV challenge? Now it's called The Challenge, but it used to be Real World Rules, you know, challenge. I doubt that Johnny Bananas, Paula, Sarah, Mark, any of those that did all those crazy, you know, bungee jumps, doing like crazy stuff on the challenge, they got stunt doubles. If you have the producers with the, you know, a push of a button, because they're the ones that control like the hatches, you know, opening, they could play chess with the players that they wanted to keep and, you know, move on in the competition, and the players that are not charismatic enough or don't have a lot of like following on social media, so they're like, no, this person needs to go, and then boom, press the button and then they fall. I thought it was really fair and very smart when Roland suggested that they played the game 50-50, that they would basically leapfrog each other, so every contestant had a chance to, you know, to pick, you know, to choose left or right at least once. I was like, oh, that's so smart because, you know, it creates less chaos. And I know this is, you know, a competition and people at one point of the game have to eat each other because there can only be one winner. So even though you do your clicks at the beginning, at one point you're gonna have to go against each other. You know, you can go to the end with your best friend or with your mother or your son, but then you're gonna have to kill each other at the end. It's not like the challenge on MTV that sometimes at the end you can go as a couple, you can go as partners, but they show that there is a way to play these games in a less cruel and savage way. But no, there was one contestant that ruined for everyone on the glass bridge, Ashley. So Ashley decided not to move. She jumped, she got her spot, and she's like, nope, I'm standing my ground. I'm not moving. I'm not leaping forward. No, no. And everyone's like, what? Come on. And then poor Trey was the one that was, left to fall into the abyss because of Ashley. You can argue that, hey, she did what she's got to do, to survive on this competition. So when Mai went after her in the next game, which was like a roll of a dice, I wasn't mad at Mai. And Mai is not my favorite contestant. And how hypocritical it was of Ashley to get mad at Mai for nominating her in the game of dice. So let's move on to the next game, which is a roll of a die. So you can either nominate someone else in the group or nominate yourself. And if you get a 6, if you roll a 6, then that person or yourself, if you self-nominate, will get eliminated like instantly. And like I said, when I mentioned about playing this game in a less cruel way, in a more humane way, when Elliot suggests that, hey, let's all just, self-nominate ourselves, but no, Mai went, the other way. Next game was Circle of Trust, which was a genius game of reverse psychology. Long story short, all the contestants are sitting in desks, like school desks, blindfolded. The guards go around and tap someone on the shoulder. That person takes the blindfold, picks up this gift box, and places in another contestant's desk. So whoever picks that box, after, they go back to being blindfolded, take the blinds off, and whoever has that box has to guess who put that box there. If they guess right, that person is eliminated. If they guess wrong, then they are eliminated. When Mai made the point, a really good point, saying that, like, Ashley, the obvious person that wants Mai gone, it's Ashley. So you would think that Ashley will put the box on Mai's desk, but that's too obvious. So Mai said Ashley wouldn't do that because it was too obvious for me to guess. But if you reverse it, if Ashley was smart, she would put the box in Mai's desk, because once again, Mai is already thinking that she wouldn't do that. She wouldn't put the box there because it will be too obvious. So because it is so obvious, I will put the box there on Mai's desk if I was Ashley, and then it would eliminate her. Remember that episode of Friends? Is like, but they don't know that we know that they know. Mai says that she wouldn't put the box there, but because it would be too obvious. But because it's obvious, then she should put the box there because Mai wouldn't suspect it. Does that make sense? So my boy Phil, I call him my boy because I found out he's from Brazil. He said he lived there until he was 16 and then moved to America, but he has zero accent, like no accent at all, like a Brazilian accent. He seems like a really nice guy, super chill, super calm, and I was like, I'm rooting for him and Sam. But the fact that he got the box handed to him twice and he guessed it right twice, I mean, the guy deserved his place in the final 3. Speaking of playing the game, well, because we have Mai, Sam, and Phil. So when Sam is asking, it's like, oh, how many boxes did you get? How many boxes did you get? And then Phil is like, once, and then she's like, once, and he's like, so who put the box in Roland's desk? Because Roland was their friend, and they're trying to figure out like who eliminated him. It was Mai. But when Sam asked her, like face to face, so who did you give your box to? And she's like, I put it on Amanda's desk. Lie. And the fact that she was like just thinking like who that she couldn't remember, I would have caught that lie right then and there, because it wasn't like there was 50 people and you couldn't remember who you gave the box to. It was only like a handful of people. You will remember. I'm rooting for either Phil or Sam, because it seems like they build a genuine relationship. So if either of those two win, they'll be happy for each other. They even talked about keeping in touch after, outside of the show. And did you catch the cute little moment after the gift box, the circle of trust, when they're walking and they're holding hands and then their hands did like this? And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be so cute if they dated in real life? Do you think there'll be a reunion show? So these are the final three that we have: Sam, Phil, and Mai. Which contestant do you think wins it all next week? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also hit the little bell notification button so you don't miss any future videos. And I'll see you next time.